Christians in the United States vote for Donald Trump. And a lot of people looking from the outside of the United States and from people in the United States who are scratching their heads, why is so many people who call themselves Christians voting for pathological, lying, philandering, racist, misogynist, convicted of rape, thief, grifter. I mean, convicted rapist, and cheated on all his wife, then brags about sexually assaulting women, and brags about, going into beauty pageants and bursting into dressing rooms with half-naked women without their consent, bursting in there and saying that because he's the owner of the pageant, he's allowed to do that, and which is just, it's a criminal activity, so, I mean, scammer, Trump University, the guy who gassed a bunch of protesters so he could take a picture with a Bible across the street from the White House, and who, cheated on his taxes and got convicted 34 times of cheating on, who went ahead and friggin' openly racist on camera, saying that Haitian people are eating cats and dogs and pets up in Ohio, and just horrendous, horrible shit that the man does, and who lied about the seriousness of COVID and turn cost the deaths of what the experts call about 450,000 people, because he downplayed the seriousness, and then the people who believe and follow him blindly, they went ahead and they didn't take the vaccine, they didn't see any measures, and and the list is endless of this guy's horrendous behavior. He's a horrible human being. And I mean, saying that he would date his own daughter, shit like that, and that they have sex in common and a bunch of shit. So, and the horrible things he said about Puerto Rican people after Maria, and saying that we're insinuating we're a bunch of lazy people who were expecting others, and poor shaming Puerto Rican people, saying that we were throwing the budget off because as citizens we're entitled to help from FEMA, which by the way is financed by our mortgage insurance, which is some of the highest, if not the highest, mortgage insurance of any citizen of the United States. So, just one after the other, and, and the explanation is simple. People think we have to stop correlating the term Christian with good, not because it's people giving a bad name to Christianity or Judeo-Christian religion, is because Judeo-Christian religion is intrinsically homophobic, racist. It condones and it prescribes genocide. I was baptized and I took it upon myself to study it. So if you read the Bible, it's full of atrocities not committed exclusively by people, prescribed by the main character, the Judeo-Christian God. Take the flooding, Noah's Ark. Why did that happen? It happened because the Judeo-Christian God had a mood swing and decided to commit genocide against the people he created, humans. So he flooded Earth, drowned, and committed genocide against everyone. Women, babies, everything. Man, it doesn't matter. And chose one person in his family to build an ark and save themselves. So when he saw, he had he felt bad. He regretted doing that. So he said, okay, let's just, as a sign, as a promise to humans that I'm not going to commit genocide again, I'm going to give you the rainbow. That's my pact with humanity. An example of this Christian God's horrendous behavior, vengeful behaviors, Sodom and Gomorrah. That same thing. Some people who read that say, hey, it doesn't mean gay people. He didn't, for whatever reason it was he drew fire from heaven and exterminated 2 cities and told Lot, his wife, and their daughters to get out and not look back. And simply because Lot's wife did not heed the advice, she was scared. There was a bombardment, intergalactic bombardment going on, genocide being committed in Sodom and Gomorrah on statue. And then when they get to a cave, Lot's daughters decide to get him drunk and have sex with him so he can impregnate them. There it is. So that's the type of shit that they want put in the schools. But the Judeo-Christian God's favorite, David, one of them, he has a penchant for for horrible people. He was dear to his heart. David. What did David do? David killed a bunch of people. But namely, he sent the husband of the woman he desired to the battlefront to get killed so he could keep the wife, because he had the hots for her. And again, this is not because there are bad Christians. This is prescribed in the Bible. So another example of the atrocities in the Bible committed by the Judeo-Christian God. By prescription, the laws given to the Hebrews by this God of theirs prescribed that men who lay with men were stoned to death or killed. And said, well, that's the Old Testament. Okay, let's go to the New Testament. The New Testament says, according to Paul, who, by the way, never met Jesus, if there was a historical Jesus figure, we're still waiting for the body. Oh, wait, it went up to heaven. And, so, by the way, the whole raping women or impregnating women without consent comes straight from this God of Israel. When your 2 intergalactic messengers, aka angels, show up to this Palestinian Jewish girl and tell her, hey, our boss says he's going to get you pregnant. He had no say in that. You're just going to get impregnated. Period. There is no, would you like to, meet and go out to dinner? We have somebody who likes you. No, you're just going to get pregnant by this dude. So you see, the whole theme of this compendium of writings put together by Constantine, Roman emperor, who said he converted to Christianity in a political move, because he saw the writing on the wall that the Roman Empire exclusively fed upon the labor of enslaved, the people they conquered and enslaved and taxed. There's this new cult out sect called Christians, and their writings say that don't worry about it. Your kingdom and your prize are not here. You have your castle up in heaven. That sounds good to somebody who's trying to enslave and keep the people enslaved. I better subscribe to this, because if I'm one of them, they won't mind if I keep exploiting them. While at the same time, Constantine kept having parties and having ceremonies for, I think it was Apollo or Mercury, one of the Roman gods from the Roman god pantheon. So, see, people don't read. People don't want to read. They think they're just going to turn on the TV and listen to Jerry Falwell. May he be rot in hell. Too bad there's no hell. Same guy who used to celebrate every time there was a death from AIDS, and who called AIDS the God's punishment for homosexuals. So, see, this is not that they're bad Christians. It's that Christianity is inherently evil, homophobic, racist, genocidal, not because of the people turned it into that, but because the main character of their cult, of their mythology, is those things. Vengeful, petty, mass murdering, homophobic, misogynist. All those things are prescribed in the Judeo-Christian Bible. Not by the Christians, by the main character. So if you read it, you can't tell me that, those people are just not carrying on Jesus' message. First of all, if there was a Jesus, he didn't write anything. It was hearsay. By the way, the story of Jesus comes straight from Horus. Horus, Horus, is an Egyptian. It's an African god, Egyptian god. And the Horus mythology, the story, the account, is almost identical to the virgin conception and birth of Jesus Christ, down to the donkey and the animals around when this character was supposed to have been born. So, I'm gonna let you in a little secret. They made the whole thing up. Humans have always been making mythologies up. Is our ability to use imagination and creativity has been one of the most prominent aspects of our evolution, but it has also been our downfall, because we can imagine how to cure a pathogen, or how to develop therapies for a bug, virus, bacteria, but we can also imagine a very complex mythology and preach it for 2,000 years and send people out to kill people who don't believe, like all this Abrahamic religions, the sons of Abraham, both Arabs and Jews, have been doing for I have no idea how long. And if you pay attention to the mythology of Babylon and Sumerians and Constantinople and the people of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, if you pay attention to the mythologies of those people who are pretty old, and you follow the path of the Hebrews, you're going to see how much of that mythology is embedded and has been plagiarized by the Judeo-Christian or Abrahamic religions, and is still up to date, down to the flood, down to the virgin birth. Where did the virgin birth myth come from? From Horus. Where were the Hebrews? In Egypt. Where did Horus come from? From African Egyptian mythology. It's plagiarized. The whole thing has been plagiarized, and we've been sold into this lie that there is this deity up in the sky, that's supposed to know everything, the future and the past and the whole 9 yards. And and you see the cruelty of this deity. In he goes out and places a bet against one of his fallen angels that he created himself, and since he knows the past and the future, he knew that this angel is going to turn bad against them, aka Satan, Luzbel, the devil, whatever you want to call it, which is not, the devil is not originary with Judeo-Christian religion. It's an old mythology. So they say, I bet you I bet you that job, that dude you love so much, and he says he loves you, but because you give him everything, he's got money and his family's fine. I bet you if you let misery come and touch him, he won't worship you. And the God of Israel says, okay, go ahead, fuck him up. You'll see. He's not gonna. What kind of person does that? What kind of person makes a bet with somebody and tells him, go ahead, give him cancer, go ahead, kill his children, go ahead, do all this, take his money, go ahead, turn him into a beggar, go ahead, turn him into a heroin addict, throw him in the streets, prostitute his daughters? I bet you he will not hate me. What type of piece of shit does that to somebody? If anything, you would protect him from that. If you love somebody, you're not gonna, because see the prideful, the arrogant nature of this God of Israel, and so throughout the entire history of this deity, it has shown, the text has shown how evil and how brutal it is towards humans. So my point that I've been trying to make, I'm showing you all the evidence. Point that I've been trying to make is, hey man, you can't expect people who have been indoctrinated in that type of brutal, abusive, homophobic, racist, misogynist, mass murdering, genocidal mythology to expect anything else from one of their leaders. Their own God, the one that they chose, has every quality and then some that this animal called Donald Trump has exhibited and continues to do so. It should not come into as any surprise to any of you that this person is supported by so many Christians who, by the way, they think they're good people. They believe it to the core, and many of them are. I got a bunch of Christian people in my family. But whenever most of them haven't read the Bible. Whenever I show them the evidence, I tell them, this is what it says in this so-called holy book or books or writings of yours. They say, well, where does it say that? Well, you don't know how to interpret it. You understand? That they go into this whole, pretzel contortionism of trying to explain away what's painfully obvious, that this entire set of beliefs coming from the Abrahamic religions is nefarious, man. It's evil. We need to run away from all that Middle Eastern Abrahamic mythology as far as possible and go towards a humanist approach. We do not need, as a species, we don't need any more religions. We have plenty of other writings that can teach us a decent way to live. We have plenty. There's no one's perfect. We have plenty. You say, what's going to be our north? Meaning, what should be our goal? What's going to be our model to imitate? Certainly not going to be a guy who commits genocide every time he gets a mood swing and then say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to give you a rainbow. I don't want my children to be that. I don't want my children to be told that they were born with dirty things inside that are going to make them burn in hell if they don't accept a blood sacrifice from a guy who sacrificed himself to appease himself. It's bullshit. It's an entire line of bullshit. We need to run the fuck away from that. We're still fighting religious wars today, to this day, right now, and we're financing them. We're buying every rocket that Netanyahu and his genocidal goons, Zionist goons, the fascist genocidal goons in Israel are doing to the, and have been bombing and raping and destroying Palestinians since the 1800s. And it's been Christianity against Islam. For a long time, we're financing the genocide of over 40,000 human beings, most of them women and children. And then men too. People keep saying women and children as if men didn't count. What? All of a sudden, because we're men, we're bad? No. There's a bunch of decent people out there. So I propose to you, say, what am I going to do on Sundays then? What do I do on Sundays? Where do I take my family? How about the beach? How about you hang out with them, you play a sport with them? How about you read them some poetry? How about you teach them philosophy? How about you teach them Confucius? How about you teach them the great writers of humanism? There is a plethora of books and teachings out there that can teach your children to be good people and teach you and me, everybody. We don't need any more Abrahamic mythology indoctrination. We need to run away from it. It's destroying us. Look, almost half of the country, almost half of this nation is going to vote for a scumbag, a pathological lying piece of shit. And that man is truly a scumbag. This is one of the worst human beings that we have been exposed to. And the reason they're so strongly behind him is because they've been indoctrinated since they were children to believe that there is this deity who, by the way, does horrendous piece of shit things to humans, and also chooses horrendous piece of shit humans to lead other humans, and those humans are his favorites, who got pissed off at Saul. According to the Judeo-Christian mythology, Saul, I believe, was David's son. Got pissed off at him because he didn't finish the genocide that this God ordered Saul to commit. He said, did you kill them all? Saul said, no, I left the royal family alive. Well, you're fucked, because now I'm going to punish you. I told you to kill everybody, even the goats and the sheep and everybody. This is the God that we're teaching our children to love. So when we teach them to love somebody like that and respect somebody like that and blindly follow somebody like that, they grow up to be people who have no problem supporting a scumbag like Donald Trump. This is the reality that we live in. So how do we fix that? Stop indoctrinating children into this type of mythologies. We don't need it anymore. We really never did. If anything, these religions have kept us in the dark, have committed genocide. They burnt women at stakes. They're now bombarding women and children to the tune of 40,000 people in Palestine. We're still bombarding, committing genocide against Arabs as if there was nothing. We killed 1 million Arabs for nothing because George Bush said they were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which is a filthy fucking lie. Everybody knows it. He's just retired, collecting a shitload of money. And they're one of the most revered families in the United States. We had no business committing genocide. We killed 1 million people in Iraq, man. We financed that genocide. We're still committing genocide. People say, I hear them say all the time, oh, the Native Americans, they committed human sacrifice. Some of them did, But we turn it into an industry. Us, the descendants of European Christians. I have Native American and black in me too. But Europeans have turned human sacrifice into a multi-trillion-dollar industry. It's an industrial level now. You know? We sacrifice humans, especially the ones of color, at the altar of the stock price of the military-industrial complex companies' stock prices. That's a redundancy. So you know, why is that so easily done? Because religion dehumanizes people. We're just pawns to these deities that they give us. You're nothing to them. You're born dirty with an original sin. We tell our children that shit. You ain't shit till you believe in the blood of the guy who killed himself so that you could be cleansed of your original sin that was given to you by the same guy. You see where I'm going? It's insane. We need to stop this shit. So maybe this weekend, maybe you can go teach your kids how to run a bicycle, how to shoot a ball, you know. Go to nature, watch TV with them, watch some, a documentary, I don't know, read a book. Go ahead, man, do something with them. Because I assure you, they hate going to church on Sundays. They would rather be doing some other shit.